NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? Is your boy. Ladies and gentlemen, the New York Knicks are 1 win away from clinching a playoff berth. So yes, the Knicks are doing what they set out to do, ladies and gentlemen. A big win tonight versus the Cleveland Cavaliers in what started off as a duel between Jalen Brunson and Donovan Mitchell. Jalen Brunson comes out on top in that duel. Tony Crow, what's popping with your brother? How you feeling tonight?
What's good, Sim? I got to work at 5 a.m., but I wasn't going to miss this one. I was not going to miss this one. I'm feeling good. Shout out to the chat. Yo, Black, it's time. Let's go.
Yeah, man. This is a nice one tonight. You know what I mean? Nice win tonight for the New York Knicks. Josh, what's going on, man?
Salute, Sam. I'm with Tony. What a game, what a game, what a game. I saw a lot of great things tonight. A lot of great things. And I think this is going to be a preview for that first round series. I can't wait. I'm excited, and it's just a great win. Great win.
Yeah. I don't know if it's a preview yet because, they have Jared Allen who's out. He changes some things. Obviously, Julius Randle is out. Who knows when and how he comes back. But, it seems like they're on a collision course for the first round. And I'm sure it's going to look a little bit different when they both have full teams. If they both have full teams for the playoffs, But the Knicks win the series 3-1. Too bad the Knicks are kind of far behind and they can't. It'd be really, really tough. The Cavs would need to collapse in order for the Knicks to catch them, for that 4th seed. But either way, the Knicks have proven that they can win in Cleveland, But, I don't want fans or anyone to get too crazy because we did the same thing with Atlanta a couple years ago, when we beat them 4 times in the regular season. And then, obviously, you see what happened in the playoffs. This is a much different team. I think the Knicks are a much better team. But they still got to stay on it. They got to stay focused. I think they know that. A lot of the players that played against Atlanta are in this series or will be in this series, and they understand they got to stay with it. You know what I mean? They got to stay focused. They got to be ready because the playoffs, that's when all of the adjustments, that's when the real scouting comes in, the real coaching comes in. You know what I mean? And they got to be ready to go.
What did you? I heard a lot.
Yeah, go ahead, Tony.
I heard a lot of people early in the day saying this was the biggest game of the season. I didn't agree with that sentiment, but I'll tell you this might have been the biggest win of the season.
Okay. Yeah. I agree with you. Definitely might have been the biggest win because, obviously Julius Randle was out and they needed to get one step closer towards clinching that playoff spot. I will say this. I think we still got a lot to learn about how they're going to play without Julius Randle because Jalen Brunson's not going to drop 48 every night. Right?
And we were hot collectively, right?
Yeah, it was a big night. It was a hot night. I mean, from the beginning of the game, it was both teams were just knocking down shots all over the place. You know what I'm saying? The Knicks shot 52% from the field and 47% from 3. Cleveland shot 51% from the field and 46% from 3. The Knicks still shot only 62.5% from the free throw line. So it was, I'm not sure if it's a true barometer of how you're going to see the Knicks play going forward. You know what I mean? Tonight was one of those nights where, in my opinion, the team was like really focused on, okay, we all got to do our jobs because Julius Randle was out, like that honeymoon period type of thing, right? We'll see in the next couple of games when teams begin to, okay, this is what they like to do without Julius Randle in the game. Now let's make sure that we're preparing for that. We'll see what they look like then. Now, depending on who they're playing at that point in time, it may not really matter, right? Because those teams may not be playing for anything, and the Knicks may have locked up what they needed to lock up and, sending it off for the rest of the season. But it's a small sample size. Jalen Brunson goes crazy. Both teams are really, really hot. So I think there's still some stuff to learn about how they're going to play for the remainder of the season without Julius Randle, and if they have to go into the playoffs. The one thing I will say is playing against the Cavs tonight, they at least get to – there's a chance that Julius Randle's not there for the first couple of games or even the series. Who knows? They at least get to feel it out against the Cavs, right? So you have something on film that you could say, okay, this is what we did. Even though Jared Allen might be back, he changes things with guys penetrating into the lane. You know what I mean? Because even still tonight, Jalen Brunson was getting inside a lot and scoring, especially in that first half. The Knicks, 54 points in the paint. The Cleveland Cavaliers, 46 points in the paint. So there's still a lot to learn. But what did you think, at least tonight, on how they looked? And, things that you've seen from them without Julius Randle out there. Tony, I'll start with you.
Number one, that philosophy of next man up was in full effect. Mm-hmm. A lot of heroes or unsung heroes, depending on how you want to think about it, but the team collectively really, this is why I say this might be the biggest win of the season. With Julius Randle gone, everybody kind of stepped up. Nobody tried to do too much. If anything, that onus was on Brunson. You know what I mean? And he delivered. But everybody else kind of really just did what they normally do, but at a higher efficiency or at a maximum effort level. Hartenstein, this might have been one of his best games of the year. But he's had good games. You know what I mean? Like no points, high rebounds, good plus minus. I'm just excited, man. I didn't think we would pull it away in this fashion. And I'll tell you this, Donovan Mitchell's going to have, this probably opened his eyes a lot in the sense that maybe sometimes you be like, all right, he had a good series, right, against me or whatever the case. But here they are going back and forth, neck and neck in that first half. And Brunson was right there with him. And then kind of by the end of the game, outperformed him. So it's like now that's going to be something that he's going to be having his mind in that playoff series. You know what I mean? He did it to me once. Here's the matchup again, which I think he was relishing coming into this game, but now with this performance, you know what I mean? It might have even put some, I don't want to say doubt, but you know what I mean? Now he knows he got to be at his peak in this series. You know what I mean? So that's what stood out for me.
Yeah, no doubt. I seen someone ask, what am I talking about? I'm assuming, when I'm saying that we haven't seen everything about how the team looks, and there's still a lot to learn with Randle being out. The reason why I'm saying it is because Brunson scored enough for Randle and himself tonight, right? He scored 48 points. Randle averages 25. He averages about 22 or 23. He basically scored both of their points tonight. That's not going to be every night. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. What else is in store? I'm not saying anything bad. I'm just saying what else is in store and what else are we going to see and how else are they going to play? Don't expect Jalen Brunson. I wouldn't expect him to score 48 points every night, right? So we got to see how else people continue to step up and play. You know what I mean? RJ Barrett, 14 points tonight, but, he was still, 6 for 17 from the field. You know what I mean? So there's still stuff to learn. Josh?
So I disagree with Tony in the sense that this team didn't show me anything that I didn't already know, right? They're resilient. This is a resilient bunch. They've been resilient the whole season.
I agree.
What I've seen from the contributions that they got from those other players, they've been doing that all year. So, and I know, I'm not coming at you, Tony. I'm just saying, like, to me, that wasn't anything new. Like, what Sim asked the question in regards to what did I notice tonight? Like, I noticed what they've been doing the whole season, being resilient and playing, people getting contributions from everywhere is what I'm trying to say. Jalen Brunson, phenomenal tonight. I doubt he's going to play like that for the rest of the season and the playoffs in every single game. He's going to be efficient. That's a given. He's been that way his whole career. But I don't expect him to score that much. Emmanuel quickly didn't have his best game from a production standpoint. So I think that's probably where the Knicks can get some more production from him if Jalen Brunson's not, putting this tremendous output that he put on tonight. And as far as the way the Knicks played, I didn't see anything that they did differently from a schematic standpoint. And so it was a ton of isolation basketball, and it worked. You know what I mean? Jalen Brunson, when he's playing like this, I mean,
yeah.
What can you say? You know what I mean? What can you say?
Yeah, I agree with you. I didn't see anything really different besides the fact that you didn't have, a big guy getting the ball in like the mid post area. You're talking about Julius Randle. Obviously we didn't have that set. We didn't have Julius Randle, in there drawing double teams and kicking it out to anyone. So we didn't see those things, but for the most part, we've seen basically the same stuff that we always see. I do think they played faster, though, right? I think it was just faster from the beginning of the game. It was a lot faster, moving and going. Everything was a lot faster, but for the most part, I felt like they played basically the same. You know what I mean?
I do think there was less ISO, but I only say that because it was only one person with the ISO. You know what I mean? Like, so in that sense, it was less ISO, but Brunson probably had more possession, so it didn't even it didn't even look like
Right.
less
Right.
less ISO.
Nah, he definitely had more. His usage rate was way higher. He took 32 shots tonight. I mean, he was hot. He was hot. So you know what I mean. What are you gonna do? He took 32 of them though.
Yeah.
I think with that, I think there's still some unanswered questions in regards to how the Knicks are going to be able to perform. Let's say if Jalen Brunson does not, he's going to shoot great, but let's say if he does have some off nights where he's not taking as many shots with Randle being out, there's still some questions there, right? Because I want to see the Knicks move the basketball a little bit more. I think when the Knicks are not knocking them their shots from three, they have to find other ways to score the basketball, and that's still a concern for me. But if Jalen Brunson or Randle, when he gets back, is shooting like this, I mean, I'll take it.
Yeah. Rand Rock, thank you for chiming in. We appreciate it. He said, I think Brunson did what a superstar does. Said, I'm not saying he's a superstar, but he has the heart of a superstar. I'm paraphrasing. He has a heart like one. I mean, I think Brunson has proven that, he can play with the best of them this year, though. You know what I mean?
No question.
Every time he steps on the floor and there's, top players out there, he's going nose to nose with them. I mean, he went nose to nose with Donovan Mitchell tonight, and they weren't always guarding each other, but you know what I mean? You know what I mean? And yeah, Brunson is proven to the entire league that he's at least all-star caliber and maybe even all-NBA caliber. I think he's proven that to the league. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's tough out. It's tough for a guard out here.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's, you know what I mean? Like it's more, there's not enough spots for people who deserve it. And let's just say that. It's just too many good guards
super guard heavy. Super guard heavy.
Yeah. Super guard heavy.
But I have heard some rumblings of him potentially making all NBA without being an all-star. So we shall see.
Yeah. Greg Peterkin says, Sim, if Brunson takes 30 plus shots, he will get 40.
No question.
I believe that. I don't know if I want him to take 30 plus shots at this point. You know what I mean? I want the Knicks to win games, but I also want Brunson to be fresh for the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? We got some people out there. Emmanuel quickly can score the basketball. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Quentin Grimes, can knock down that spot up three. can go to the basket. Not I Hart. Josh Hart. You know what I mean? He can knock down the spot up three. He can score in transition. So there's people that we can use, without Brunson having to take 30-plus shots. I think he did tonight because he was hot. And so he took it upon himself.
Let me ask you this, though, because when I read the comment, I automatically assumed I wasn't thinking about down the stretch. I was thinking about in the playoffs. Now, if Randle has to miss games in the playoffs, I have no problem with him taking 30 shots.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like 30 is high. You know what I mean? 28. You know what I mean? But in that range, I have no problem with that. Yeah. And we might need it. It may not even be because he's as hot as he was today. But we may need that from him. You know what I mean?
If Brunson is shooting 49% for the season, right? So out of, let's say 30 shots even, right? Even if they're all twos, that's 30 points.
That's 30 points.
That's 30 points, not to mention the free throws and what he can give you from the three-point line. So, yeah, that comment is right. He's going to score 40 points. Yeah. And for me, honestly, I'm with Tony. I'm with Tony on that. Even though I want the Knicks to move the basketball more, I just feel I'm more confident in Brunson and what he can do if he takes those amount of shots per game than I am the supporting cast, I would say, in regards because of how the Knicks run their offense. And they're not that good of a three-point shooting team. They could get hot, but I think that's more of a sure thing for me. Brunson doing what he does. Yeah. Now, if he's not, then other people are going to have to step up. And that's where I kind of want them to move the ball a little bit. But I think that's more of a sure thing. 49% for a guard?
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I agree. We've seen him do it against Dallas. Going down the stretch of the season, I don't want them shooting that many shots every night. I want the Knicks to use their team, and hopefully you go into the playoffs and you're like, okay, we can use the team. Now, if we need Brunson to do it, then, he can take over and do it. But I'd like to see, everybody get involved and, get their shots up and, play a team basketball game, and he does it when they need him to do it. That's what I would rather see. You know what I mean? Right. Instead of it's just, this is the given, he's going to take 30 shots,
And the great thing about Brunson, whether he takes 20 shots, 30 shots, 10 shots, number one, they're going to be good shots. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So that's number one. So if his shots attempts increase, I'm confident in that 49% because he's always going to be taking good shots. Plus he's not a selfish guy, so I don't think he'll ever say I gotta hit this number. You know what I mean? It's you know what I mean? So again, if he's doing it, it's because the game dictated it more than because he feels like I need this many attempps. You know what I mean?
Well, I feel like he felt that way tonight, and I wouldn't even call that selfish. I think the team needed him to do it tonight. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't even call that, I'm not saying you're calling him selfish, Tony, but tonight I felt like it was necessary. I felt it was a necessary evil. I'll put it to you that way.
That's what I said. I'm saying he understands the difference. Mm-hmm. He understands when it's necessary. You know what I mean? When I could just play with it. Basically, the game dictated him to take them shots today. Right. It wasn't him going out there saying, "Let me pick up the slack," per se.
Right. And in the third quarter, when his shot at the beginning of the third quarter, when his shot was, he wasn't hitting as much, he started passing a little bit more. Right? Like you trust Brunson that way. Mm-hmm. You trust Brunson that way. And he had 9 assists tonight. 9 assists tonight for Jalen Brunson. Across the board, looking at the box score, I'll bring the box score over here for you guys to check out. Of course, Jalen Brunson had 48 points and 9 assists tonight for the New York Knicks. Then a lot of double-digit scoring across the board. Emmanuel quickly had 14 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists. Quentin Grimes, 14 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists. R.J. Barrett had 14 points and 7 rebounds. Mitchell Robinson, 10 points and 14 rebounds, along with 1 assist, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. And Obi Toppin had 12 points. Speaking of Obi Toppin, what do you think about Obi Toppin's play? What do you think about his play and his number of minutes with Julius Randle being out tonight? And the rotation with Obi Toppin.
Can I go first?
Yep, go ahead.
So Sim, I was listening to the pregame. Obviously, I couldn't make it on. And I heard you and Andy discussing what Tom Thibodeau was going to do with the starting lineup. And personally, for me, I thought y'all were overthinking it. I thought y'all were really overthinking it because I thought there was no question that Obi Toppin was going to start the game. I think given the situation that the Knicks are in, first of all, Obi Toppin's first on the depth chart behind Julius Randle. That's number one. The second part to that is I think you guys were correct in the sense that I think throughout the game, Tibbs may utilize different lineups, maybe go a small ball lineup. But I seriously doubted that Thibodeau, from the start of a game, in this situation down the stretch of the season, was going to start a game with a small ball lineup and then have Obi come off the bench in that regard. I think that's something that he'll look at come playoff time. But to me, I thought it was no question that Obi Toppin was going to start the game tonight. And basically what you were saying was, you and Andy were saying were correct in terms of how the lineups were used throughout the game. Obi didn't get Randle's minutes. He got just enough minutes to go out there and produce what he produced. And then those secondary lineups, those small ball lineups with Hart and RJ at the 4, those came into play throughout the course of the game. And they closed with like a potential lineup like that. So I had no doubt. I'm happy with what Obi gave us tonight. I think that's kind of going to be the norm for him while Randle's out.
Well, I had doubt, especially given that there was Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland out there. I figured he would look at it and say, you know what, let's go with what the matchups might look like, and put two defensive guys out there that can defend Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell, right? That's why, and I said other games, it might be Obi that starts based on the matchup. Obviously, he went with Obi, but down the stretch, he went with, the defensive guys that he felt was going to be able to defend Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell. You seen Obi didn't play. He didn't play in the second quarter. He didn't play in the fourth quarter, right? He basically just used them, to start the games. Right. Kind of like, you see games where a team has a big man and they use him for jump ball and then get him out the game or something like that. You know what I mean? Seriously, I feel like that's the way that he used Obi, that he didn't use him as like I'm depending on him, because he didn't put him back in the second quarter. I was waiting and looking, okay, is he going to put him back in with maybe 3 or 4 minutes left in the second quarter? Nope, he didn't go back in. Obviously he wasn't going to go in down the stretch in the fourth quarter, and he relied on, Josh Hart, Emmanuel Quickly, Quentin Grimes, in that lineup.
Right.
And went small,
but that's what I'm saying. I had no doubt about what you were saying in regards to closing the game. I think that's different, but I thought starting the game, there has to be Obi in that situation, because to me, I call them curveball lineups. Tibbs is using those kind of lineups with Hart at the 4 and whatever as curveball lineups, not necessarily to start the game. And I think for the rest of the season, even if Obi doesn't perform that well, let's say tonight, from a production standpoint, he didn't perform that well, I think Obi would have started the next game on Sunday. And then Tibbs, depending on how the game would go, he would do what you said.
Yeah, I mean, so, now that he started, Tibbs isn't going to change the starting lineup. That's not his MO. He's not going to be like, okay,
right.
If Tibbs was going to go with a matchup type of starting lineup, you see a lot of teams do it, right? When they have somebody out, they say, okay, now we're just going to go with what the matchups are. If Tibbs was going to do that, I think he would have did it tonight because of the two guards that they had. Right, which is the reason why I was saying either Emmanuel Quickly or Josh Hart I thought would start. But since he didn't do it tonight, he's probably not doing it for the remainder of these games. He's just going to go with Obi Toppin. And he might have, and part of the reason, too, I was thinking, and it also, if he started quickly, because I had changed from Josh Hart to Quickly, that if he started quickly, it kept that second unit intact. So you're not changing as much because Quickly had already been starting. You know what I mean? But, he's going with, and obviously Obi didn't play with the second unit at all. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Which provided, a little bit of a change for this team. So now that second unit was, it still had starters in it. RJ Barrett is a starter. So RJ Barrett was out there with those guys, Hartenstein, Josh Hart, McBride, and whoever else was on the floor, either Grimes or Jalen Brunson or Quickly. You know what I mean? But that was the reason why I thought he might go with that lineup, because it, kind of matched, their guys a little bit. But we'll see what Obi can continue to do if he starts. Looking at it tonight,
I have no issues with how Obi's used tonight, and I like the fact that um he's not overusing him in that sense to the point where it's really about Obi now. You know what I mean? You could be a filler, you know what I mean, a minute filler, or you come out and produce, and he'll get more minutes if he's having one of those nights. But he has the opportunity to, and it's no added pressure either. You know what I mean? You come in that starting unit, you're in that starting unit. It's actually I mean, I would hope it's like stress free. You know what I mean? Like granted, this is not the same as last year because these games still mean something.
right?
You know what I mean? But just be carefree and make your impact when you can.
Yeah, and I say this too. I think it's good for Obi because I can imagine, if he did go with someone else, where his confidence might have been. You know what I'm saying? Like, dang, like this is the way he feels. You know what I mean? Randle's out, and I don't even, I don't get the chance to prove that I can, start in this place and be productive. You know what I mean? So it is good for Obi in that aspect. I will say that, and
and that's the other part I was looking at it too. I think Tibbs knows that. Yep. Tibbs has done a good job of reading his players this season, and that's why I kind of felt like Tibbs was going to give him the start. Now everything else that happens afterwards, you and Andy were spot on. We're very spot on about. I think that's how exactly it's going to be, and I think come playoff time, that's how it's going to be. And I think Tibbs will kind of reassess and reevaluate it come playoff time. But he's been consistent with the lineups throughout the season, throughout the entire season. One person goes down, he knows exactly who he's putting in that spot, and then ride out with that just the way it is. You know what I mean? Like Brunson goes down, he puts Quickly in. Mitch goes down, he puts Sims in the start, and then Hartenstein come off the bench. He's been very consistent, so I don't expect that to change. But throughout the game, and depending on who's playing well, Tibbs says it all the time, closing matchups, it's gonna change.
Yeah,
so,
I think Obi, if he wants to get past this 18, 19-minute mark, he's going to have to rebound. He's got to play some tougher defense. You know what I mean? He's got to make himself more of a presence besides just a spot-up shooter and someone who's catching, scoring in transition.
And the messed up thing is he's capable. Right. So I think it's really more about showing the effort and minimizing the mistakes. You know what I mean? So like show that effort defensively, and as long as you don't get called for the foul, you know what I mean? Tibbs don't care if the basket is made, as long as it's a good contest without a foul. You know what I mean? You show that effort, you'll get rewarded.
And in the rotations. You know what I mean? The rotations, knowing when you're supposed to make your rotations. Rotations can be complicated, and they can be tough. And a lot of times, people will blame a player for missing, not closing out or whatever it is, and they don't understand. They may not have seen, I don't want to say they don't understand, they may not have seen a missed rotation by somebody else earlier that led to all of that. You know what I mean? So it's important that Obi is on his rotations as well. You know what I mean? But he's got to do more. He had what? 1 rebound tonight?
I was watching and listening at work, so I don't know.
Yeah, I think 1 rebound for Obi tonight. Yeah. You got to do more, you know what I mean, than that. You gotta, I know we got some guys that can contribute on the glass, but we need Obi to be there and contribute. The Knicks had 48 rebounds tonight to 33 for the Cleveland Cavaliers. So they out-rebounded them. The only person in double-digit rebounds was Mitchell Robinson. The next closest was R.J. Barrett and Josh Hart. Josh Hart, by the way, had 11 points, 7 rebounds tonight.
Go ahead, Tony.
I just want to know, can we talk about the bigs for a second?
Yeah,
because the bigs came through. Mitch was out there looking like, all right, I ain't get to play in the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like, let let me give you a little glimpse of what's to come. Like he was contesting. I didn't see many fouls. What do you have? What 14 rebounds?
Mitch, yeah, 14 rebounds. And my mistake, the next closest was Isaiah Hartenstein with 8 rebounds. He had 4 assists too tonight. Hartenstein did.
Yeah,
Big.
yeah. The pass to McBride, I did get to see that one. Threw the goggles up. He's another one. Like he's kind of playing his best basketball down the stretch right now.
Yeah.
And it's been a trend.
And he's playing good defense inside. He also had 3 blocks tonight. As we talked about the game during the game preview, we talked about, the Knicks were averaging like 2.5 blocks or something like that. Well, Cleveland was averaging 5 blocks a game. And it was like, well, it's because it's only Mitchell Robinson getting blocks. Isaiah Hartenstein 3 blocks tonight, Mitchell Robinson 2. You know what I mean? Yeah. So they did a good job, especially in the second half, defending the paint better. Because in the first half, both teams were getting obliterated, defending the paint, defending the three-point line. I mean, and it actually wasn't that guys weren't there. I think on both teams, there were guys there. It's just both teams were hitting shots.
Great shot making, yeah.
Yeah, they were both hitting shots. The guys were there defensively, though.
And that's the thing Obi has to do. Like, you look at Hartenstein, he fights for rebounds.
Mm-hmm.
He fights for rebounds, and then if he can't get it, I'm trying to tap it away. So we have a chance. And my guy didn't get it. You know what I mean? Like, and it's consistent. Fighting for rebounds. Like, that's one of the effort things that I'm talking about.
Right.
I think it's a double-edged sword with Obi, though. And I say that, and I hear what you're saying, Sam. I think those rebounds and everything you and Tony are talking about is what's going to keep him on the floor longer, in my opinion, in addition to what he gives us from a production standpoint offensively, right? But I think Obi not being in there to grab those defensive rebounds, he's down the other way. And I think that's another big part of this team, moving faster, playing faster offense, getting easier points in transition, particularly if they're not shooting well. Like on the night when they're not shooting well and you can get some free points going the other way, I like the fact that Obi goes out there. But I hear what you guys are saying. I don't think Tibbs really – I think he values the defensive rebounding more and the defensive rotations more than that part. But I think for Obi's sake right now, I don't think he can do both consistently at the same time.
I mean, I get it. I agree. I think that, Obi, leaking out is a part of his game, is a part of the Knicks game. You know what I mean? But there's going to be times when they really need him on the glass. And he's got to be able to recognize when are the times that I can leak out and when are the times that I need to be in on the glass, to grab rebounds because, you can't leak out every single time.
Agreed.
And I'm like, I don't even refer to the leak outs because there's times when he's down there and he doesn't fight for a rebound.
I agree. Yep.
He doesn't contest for a rebound.
Right.
So that's the part I'm talking about. Like, I have no problem with the leak outs, especially when, obviously Randle's not here, but when Randle and Mitch are down there, now we got Hart, you know what I mean? But when you're down there, you gotta fight for those.
Fight for.
You know what I mean? You gotta make your presence felt.
Yeah, definitely. And the same type of energy that he showed RJ on the bench is what he's got to bring to the game on the floor when he's grabbing rebounds. Bring that.
Can I address this real quick? The Public Enemy says the Randle virus got into RJ. Wanted to swing on people. Obi to RJ, your step is too slow. You're not jumping hard enough. Get blocked. RJ, F you. So this is what I'm saying about the irrationality of Knicks fans, right? But I'm gonna concede it. I'm gonna say, the Randle virus got into him because for the first time with this young group of players, instead of all the lovey-dovey, hugging, singing, and all of that, I've seen some fire, and I love it.
Obi Toppin, RJ Barrett, having some words on the bench. You know what I mean? It shows some fire, shows the competitive spirit, in my opinion. Show the fire on the court. And, I know Josh was saying he wished that they didn't show it in the back, them hugging it out and all of that. But in case anybody didn't hear me because it was playing in the background, you got to do that, Josh. They don't want the fans to think that, there's internal beef going on because Randle quickly had something going on. And then, now you see this with RJ and Obi. the Knicks want to make sure that that the fans know we're good. It's just something that happens.
They did it on the floor, though. RJ came over them and did all that.
Yeah, I know. You're right. They did it on the floor. You know what I'm saying?
And no, I don't want to see the teammates fighting each other. I don't want to see that. But I just want to. I hate when fans think that the team is supposed to be all lovey-dovey all the time, sitting around reading the Bible under rainbows. That's not how a team operates. It doesn't operate like that. Like sometimes it's going to be they're men. First and foremost, they're men.
And they got
right. They're not kids. Yeah. They're not little kids anymore. They're men.
Right.
You know what I mean? So let's start thinking that way. And I love it.
Yeah, and they got testosterone, and it's going to boil over. You know what I'm saying? When you got that kind of fire, it's going to boil over. You know what I mean? It's going to. But the way RJ jumped up off the bench, that's the quickest I've seen RJ move.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the quickest I've seen RJ move. You know what I'm saying? RJ needs to get that kind of explosion when he's going off the dribble.
That Jamaican came out of him. That Jamaican came right out real quick. I love it.
You know what I'm saying? They got, RJ got to show that kind of explosion going off the dribble, man. You know what I mean? But, I don't know. I know they asked Tom Thibodeau about it. And, he kind of, basically said the same thing. Look, things are going to happen. It's a basketball game. Things are going to get heated. It happens all of the time. The good thing is that they were able to talk it out. And, they was cool with it at the end. You know what I mean? You see Tom Thibodeau in the middle looking like, he didn't look exactly like Jeff Van Gundy, but, you remember that Jeff Van Gundy back in the day. So, yeah, it happens, man.
Tibbs seen that footage too many times. He ain't gonna go for that predicament.
Right.
He be watching every footage.
Well, I will ask this though. What were they? What do you think they were upset about? Obviously, it had to be something that was on the floor, right?
And if it was a timeout, most likely it was a defensive play.
I think it was the fast break.
The fast
break where RJ missed Obi, and RJ blew the layup. I think it was that.
Yeah.
Maybe. I guess it wasn't defensive.
Yeah, I think it might have been that as well. You know what I mean? And I'll say this, though. In order for it to boil over there, something's been said about it before between the two. Probably, hey, you missing me on this, or, catch me on this or whatever. You know what I mean? And I also think maybe Obi, I know Obi probably gets frustrated sometimes, right? Because he's playing behind Randle. He probably feels like, I want to be able to show myself, show what I can do. You know what I'm saying? And, his minutes, 12 minutes a game. And then tonight, maybe he's thinking in his head, who knows what Tom Thibodeau told him about minutes, playing time, but maybe he's thinking, okay, I'm going to play the first quarter. I'm not expecting to come back with 7 minutes in the second quarter, but maybe I come back with 4 minutes, and then it doesn't happen. And, he's maybe a little bit like, come on, maybe still feeling a little bit frustrated in that aspect. And so then it comes out there, you know what I mean? Got to find a way to let it out. He's not going to do it to Tibbs.
Should have went to Snapchat, say all this cardio, you know what I mean?
So anyway, I like to see the fire. I like to see the fire and what they bring. Let's talk about RJ though with his performance tonight. Because RJ is, I don't know if RJ is anymore, right? Logic would tell you that
Tony, why you made that face?
RJ is the guy that people expect to step up.
Not me.
I'm almost to the point where I'm like, no, Quickly is the guy that I expect to step up now, not RJ. Right? Quickly, I feel like is now the third best player on this team.
Yep.
I do. I feel like that. You know what I mean? And RJ's moved down the ladder some. But the Knicks need RJ to step up now, because now he would be the third guy that you expect to step up on his team. Brunson, Quickly, and then RJ, now that Randle is out. So let's talk about RJ's performance tonight. What you thought, Josh? I'll start with you.
Me?
Yeah,
Why me, Sim?
you are the RJ lover on this channel.
That's true. That's very true. I mean, listen, y'all late to the party. I told you I don't expect much from RJ. I never. I mean, what he gives us is fine. I'm comfortable with what he gives us. I mean, obviously with Randle out, you want him to produce just a little bit more, so the onus doesn't have to go all the way on Brunson. But my expectations for him have lowered a long time ago. I mean, I think he's a mid player, and he's going to have some games where he's going to knock some clutch shots down. And I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that position that he is. But for me, for this season, Emmanuel Quigley has been the third best player on this team. I don't think there's any doubt about it. And I'm cool with that. You know what I'm saying, Tony?
I agree without sounding like I'm bashing him.
Oh yeah.
Everything Josh said, but nicer.
But nicer.
That was nice. I told you I like him. I like that.
That was nice for you, Josh. I ain't gonna lie.
Oh wow.
Like, there was no malice, no like. But I'm just saying, everything. I agree. I'm happy with his production. The only thing I'm waiting for is the efficiency to become better, and I think it will. It's just a matter of time, and that's gonna up his trajectory, regardless of what. Once he starts hitting shots at a higher efficiency, he'll be who he was projected to be all along.
Yeah. I mean, RJ tonight. What was he tonight? 6 for 17, 35% from the field, 2 for 7 from the 3-point line, 7 rebounds tonight for RJ. I mean, but I think, because look, Jalen Brunson isn't going to drop 48 every night. It's just that. The Knicks are going to need for RJ to score the basketball efficiently. You know what I'm saying? They're going to need for RJ to score it efficiently if they're going to be successful. Down the stretch of the season and get the wins that they need to lock down a playoff spot and then knock down that 5th seed. Now Quentin Grimes is playing well though. You know what I mean? So he's another guy that can step up and score. I mean, if RJ ain't careful, he's gonna fall below Quentin Grimes, because Quentin Grimes the last 4 games leading to tonight was averaging 21 points a game. Right? I'm just saying. I ain't trying to put it on him, but I ain't trying to put it on him. I'm just saying.
Not too much on RJ right now.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I never truly understood this. Like, I never understood why fans were so grabbing. Maybe because he's the 3rd pick. Well, yeah. But for me, I mean, if that's what it is, I mean, I get
that's
it.
why. He's the highest pick the Knicks have had since Patrick Ewing. So, yeah, just the same thing with KP. KP was the 4th pick. People, you got people that had, their allegiances to KP because he was the 4th pick.
But KP was actually an all-star, though. That's what I'm saying. Like, KP was different when he was healthy with the Knicks.
He made an all-star team with the Knicks.
Right. He was a different kind of player. RJ, to me, never was that player.
I feel you. I mean, and I didn't believe in KP. I had a lot of questions about KP. People on the channel, oh, you're just a hater. I was like, I just got a lot of questions about him. One, I didn't believe he was going to stay healthy because of his body structure. And I felt like he was basically, I felt like small defenders, could get him in trouble. He couldn't get past them because he wasn't strong enough, didn't have a strong enough lower body. And he was basically a guy that was shooting threes from the perimeter, and I was like, okay, he's cool. But I don't know if he's the guy that takes you to the promised land. That's how I felt about him. You know what I mean? But there were people who just had allegiances to him because he was that 4th pick.
But he played better than the way RJ's playing. Your concern was injuries, right? And I think injuries, like for anybody, is going to slow anybody down. And I know that you felt like he was more susceptible to it. That was his thing coming out of college, but from Europe.
Yeah. Right.
But for me, for RJ, I just don't think he is talented enough to be on that type of level. I never thought he was that talented, in my opinion, where people were comparing him to Jimmy Butler and comparing him, like putting him on these lists because he was 20 years old with Kobe and all the rest of this. To me, I just thought Knicks fans shot themselves in the foot, or the RJ stands who used to make those arguments shot themselves in the foot because RJ is not that type of player. He just isn't. Now, he's a good role player, playing his role, I think, really decent right now. And that's all. That's what it is. I don't expect anything more from him than that. If he gives us a good game, great game, cool. I'm cool with it. That's a plus. But on that night-to-night basis, I'm cool with RJ doing what he's doing. It's cool with me.
Okay, we'll see.
I just want you to know a role player is a step below a starter. So say good starter. He's a good starter. No. That's how they list them. It'd be like superstar, star, starter, role player, or bench player. That's the way they usually.
So him and Emmanuel quickly is on the same level. Is what you're saying?
We'll see. We'll see where RJ ends up. We'll see. I never thought he was the most talented guy. Like a guy with super talent or nothing like that. I was banking on and hoping that he was going to, and he still has time to develop it, but develop good footwork, craftiness, and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? To score, because I never thought he was a high flyer or had a lot of speed and those type of things. So we'll see where RJ ends up. Let me get to a phone call here. Caller, you're live. Tell me your name and where you're from, please.
Yo, it's Rod, man. What up, Sim?
What's going on with you, brother? How you feeling?
Chilling, man. Been a little bit since I got on the call, but I popped on, seen your boy Fully already getting crazy. Tone, what's going on, man? You know what's funny?
Peace, family.
First and foremost, beautiful win. Great W, man. I jumped out the window on this one, but I tuned in right on time to speak about RJ.
Okay.
I'll agree with all you guys. He's whatchamacallit. He doesn't have natural talent. Like, he's not very gifted in the way that Porzingis is, or these other athletic wings, high jumping, quick twitch type wing players. But that's why people compared him to Jimmy Butler, because you assume that his work ethic and his mindset will turn him into the type of player that we want him to be, just because they're not the most physically gifted, right?
Right.
But I hear Fulio talking about, Porzingis, RJ's not on the level of Porzingis, this and that. Context must be spoken. You know what I noticed? Nobody ever mentioned. RJ, for a lottery pick, has never been given the keys. Ever since he's been here, he's had somebody above him. First year, Julius and Mook. Second year, I think, what was it, Kemba? Or was it Alfred? Whoever it was, he's never been given the keys. So you hear people compare him to, he's not Ja, or he's not Garland. Nobody ever gave him the keys. He's always been second fiddle or third fiddle. So now and then they have him playing outside of his role. RJ came into the league as a great scorer, but that's what you would call him. You would call him a scorer, right? Put the ball on the floor, put his head down, go downhill. They shipped him to the corner like he was Steve Novak back in the those early Knicks days. Corner threes. He had that one outlier year when he shot 40% from the outside, but we know that's not his game. He needs the ball. But no, Fulio doesn't like him. Not personally. Obviously, you don't know the dude. But Fulio doesn't like him, so he's not going to admit it. He's just going to keep beating down because he's looking right, even though there's no context behind it. The man is playing third fiddle, second fiddle his whole career, so now he has to switch the type of player that he is. Do I believe RJ is going to be some 25, 26, 27-point scorer? No, but I believe he's an above-average player playing a role that he's not comfortable with. It's hard.
Can I ask you a question real quick? Because you just contradicted yourself. But let me ask you a question, because I think maybe you'll catch it. You say you don't think RJ is going to be a 25-point per game scorer, yet you think he deserves the keys.
No, I never said he deserved the keys. I'm saying the reason why you don't look at the way RJ, you don't think that he's that good, or you don't think that he's on the level of Porzingis or whatever, is because he's never gotten the keys. No, RJ does not deserve the keys. Brunson's here. What are you talking about? I'm saying he's never gotten the keys.
Josh, I'll wait till the call's done and I'll chime in after.
Nah, go ahead. I stopped because he was about to say something. Go ahead.
No. I'll just say this: you don't think RJ has been given the keys yet? You don't think it's going to be a 25-point per game scorer. So my question is, if RJ is given the keys, do you think he'll be a 25-point per game scorer?
Absolutely. Probably.
No way.
Not very efficient.
No way.
Probably not. Listen.
The difference is, are we going to win? That's the difference. Are we going to be a winning team? But I think he's on to something.
But good stuff, Tony. We may not be a winning team with him as the one, but if we're just talking about the counting stats, RJ absolutely would be a 25-point scorer, probably on like 40%.
He's been a starter since day one. He's been a starter since day one, and he has not been that.
But let me add, but let me ask this though. So because this is what I harp on this all the time. Whatever happened to, you have to prove that you're better than the person that has the keys to take the keys.
Yes.
Right? Like you have to prove that you're better than that person.
Sim, but that's a different argument. I think the argument is if he came into the league and the franchise said, "This is our guy. We're gonna go as he goes.
Live and die with him."
Yes, RJ would have been able to produce. Whether the team would be a winning team, that's a totally different question. But
he's led the team in minutes. His first 2 years in the NBA, the second and third year in the NBA, he's led the team in minutes. But see, and they almost shots. He's led them.
But see, I don't know, man. I just feel like
he's talking about. Listen. Oh, all right. Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, I just feel like certain players, if you're a top, certain players, you might come in and give them the keys, right? Or they get into practice and you figure out, I can give this guy the keys. Kobe didn't come in and get the keys. Kobe took the keys.
He took them, yes.
Kobe was there, and it was like, we got.
I don't think he's arguing that RJ should have gotten the keys. He's just making the point that had he gotten the keys, it would be a different trajectory for him. It would be different for him.
See, but that's why I disagree though, because I feel like if you're that player, then no matter who's on your team, your coaches and everyone's gonna figure out this guy needs to be the guy we play through.
No.
When you walk in the gym, you know that's the guy.
Yeah.
I feel like with RJ, you don't know that. He don't have it.
But let me tell you.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Let me tell you, people have different type of abilities, right? So Ja Morant could have came to this position, right, as the point guard, and you know how Tom Thibodeau loves Julius Randle, would have had Ja Morant play off ball the same way that what's his face?
Jalen Brunson.
This is what I'm saying before you cut it up. But listen to it. Jalen Brunson's a Tibbs guy. To me personally, I never believed that RJ was a Tibbs guy. They asked Julius Randle, who do you want out? They brought Tibbs in for Julius Randle, has been coddled since he's been in here. And Julius Randle, not only that, is more talented. He's a better player than RJ Barrett. So RJ Barrett's lack of the keys and the fact of natural ability, right? So which means you have to have more skill. RJ was a raw player coming in, but you didn't know that because he was averaging 20 plus in college because he had the ball in his hand. He was the number one option next to Zion. He got the keys early. If RJ got the keys early, RJ probably would have been one of them 22, 23-point scorers on the losing team, and we would have called them empty stats.
But why would I give the keys to somebody who doesn't have natural ability, who I don't think can score 25? Why would I do that?
That's not the argument. He's not saying he should have. He's not saying he should have gotten the keys.
I think
you guys are arguing two different points. He's only making the point that let's say this is all hypothetical anyway. But let's say he was drafted by us, but we didn't have the Mooks, we didn't have the Randles, we didn't have those guys. Let's say he was the best player on the team. Let's just say that. Then the keys are given to him. All he's saying is his offensive output or his output would have been the same as another young rookie on a losing team, but the team wouldn't be good or the team wouldn't be winning. But we've seen it year after year after year.
Well,
so I think he's not saying he should have got the keys. He's only saying had he gotten them, maybe not even for us. Maybe it's Orlando. Maybe it's some other team.
Right. Like
it would have been a different.
Josh talks about
RJ, and I agree
Josh
with that.
talks about RJ like
I'll be right
terrible,
back,
okay.
like he has no skill, like he has nothing. But the context behind it is he's playing out of position. So now they recently they've been giving him the ball, letting him run with the second team. But even when you look at him run on the second team, the offense is being run through quickly in Josh Hart. Like the coach, has so much little regard, maybe as it should, whatever. Quickly playing great, Josh Hart's playing great. I've been a fan of Josh, but the coach has so little regard for from RJ Barrett. That's why there's frustration. Frustration boils over. Does he have his blinders on at times? 1,000%. But like I always say when I talk to my brothers, Sim, Tone, Josh, we're human at the end of the day. Mitchell Robinson, the person who's just supposed to be a block and rebounding guy, is sharing his frustrations because he's running up and down the court and not getting no looks on offense. We're human. So imagine a dude with an ego like RJ Barrett who's sitting there and they telling him, stand on the corner and catch and shoot. And then you're watching Julius Randle or whoever it is do this and do that. You're not hold accountable, but the moment you mess up, you know that Grimes is behind you. You know that Hart's behind you. Hart just got to the team and Hart's been on the closing lineup. You have to understand, to me personally, Randle deserves what he gets. Julius deserves what he gets. What I'm saying is, though, the odds have been stacked against RJ from the beginning from your prototypical lottery pick. Just like Obi.
All right. Well, listen.
Can I just chime in real quick?
Yeah, well, but I got to change topics, though, because we got to get ready to get into the Losers Lounge. It's 11:30. We only got a couple minutes to go,
fault, man. I'm gonna just tune in. I'm gonna tune in, man. Sam, I got to get on the little FaceTime with you guys. But I'm gonna tune in.
I appreciate you, my brother. All right, peace.
Good call.
For sure.
Good call. But I just disagree. That's hard. Horrible. Horrible. I'm sorry.
I just feel that, maybe he would have been maybe he would have been on a really bad team and averaging 20-something points per game, if you so-called gave him the keys, but he would have been probably very inefficient. I mean, a lot of people can average 22 points a game, shooting 40% from the field, but taking a lot of shots. There's a lot of people. I don't know if that puts him on the level of a Ja Morant or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? And somebody else would have came in and then took the keys.
I agree in that sense. I just feel like the argument, he was never saying that RJ deserved, he should have been the guy from jump. So I think that's where the disconnect came.
But I don't understand. But see, for me, I don't understand that argument. Like I don't understand what the point of that is. If saying that he doesn't deserve the keys, but he never got the keys. I guess you're saying he never got the keys to get a chance. But I mean, people can see in practice. You're in practice. You're in scrimmages. You're playing. You're like, we need something. We need something more. You know what I mean?
DeJounte Murray didn't have the keys when he was in San Antonio. He spoke about it glowingly. He didn't have the keys. He felt the coaches didn't respect him. What did he do? He went out and he took it. He took it and he got himself paid. Yeah. Real quick, Sam. You read the super chat.
Yeah, let me read it. Ricardo, appreciate the super chat. He said, I'm tired of the narrative that fully doesn't like RJ. He's just telling you what it is. You can't call a donkey a zebra. Let's just stop it. You put a costume on it. You can if you want to.
Sam, real quick. These are the top 10 bad RJ takes from the RJ Hive. Number 1, give him the keys. Number 2, he's the next Jimmy Butler. Number 3, he's a two-way player. Doesn't even play defense that well. Number 4, he has ex-player in jail. Number 5, give RJ a max contract. Number 6, it's all Julius Randle's fault. Number 7, put RJ at the 2. And number 8, if RJ had a point guard, he has a point guard now. If number 9, if RJ had this player. Number 10, Josh is an RJ hater. Those are the top 10 bad takes from the RJ Hive. There you go.
I mean, listen, I like RJ Barrett. I still think RJ Barrett has a chance to be an all-star in this league. I really do. You know what I mean? I believe he has a chance, but I don't know if he was the guy you gave the keys to. But everybody has their players that they like. He was the number 3 pick. He's going to have his allegiances. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to head over to the Losers Lounge. It's going to start in about 10 minutes. As soon as we close this off, the Losers Lounge is going to open up. The last thing I did want to say, and I'll give everybody a quick chance to comment on it. Isaiah Hartenstein, we talked about it a little bit, but I just want to give him his props because he really has come up big. You know what I mean? And, we talked about at the beginning of the year, would he start? Would he close games or whatever? Right now he's been closing games for Tom Thibodeau. You know what I mean? Because Tom Thibodeau likes what he can bring on the offensive side, and he's playing defense. You know what I mean? Playing much better defensively, and he's even helping to, protect the rim a little bit. So, kudos to Isaiah Hartenstein, man. You know what I mean? But we're going to head on over to the Losers Lounge, ladies and gentlemen. Give us 10 minutes to get things set up. Go ahead and jump in there. We'll talk about comments that Cleveland Cavaliers fans had. They talked a lot about Knicks fans, according to Tony.
Yeah, they don't like us.
And we'll also talk some more Knicks. So join us in the Losers Lounge in about 10 to 15 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate your time, and we're out of here. Peace.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place to tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.